Yeah, that's just
Okay.
how she held the review.
Okay, so this is what you'd like to go through today?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. There is a formula for this, but I want to just draw the lengths here. So let's take the two smaller lengths here. We've got a 4 and a 5 here. So we actually know what if this were a right triangle, what this should be. It's the square root of this number squared plus this number squared, which is the square root of 41. And if you do the calculator, I'm gonna make the case for this here shortly. You'll find that this is 6.4. So the 6 is actually smaller than this length. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea here is that to make this work, you'd have to bring the 4 kind of in and the 5 kind of in to get to the 6, and then all of a sudden this is an acute triangle for that. Now let's go through how to actually do this with the numbers. So you have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in this case you had 4 squared plus 5 squared, and you had 6 squared. So this is 36. This was 41, and it's however you want to remember it. But if the two shorter sides squared are greater than the longer side squared, it's acute. If so, it's like this: if a squared plus b squared is greater than c squared, it's acute.
Okay.
And if a squared plus b squared is less than c squared, it's obtuse.
Okay.
And then if they're equal, it's a right triangle. So that's the formula or the background.
Okay.
Sorry. My apologies. This isn't real interesting stuff, but we'll get through it as best we can. Do you answer these as you go, or are you going to answer them at the end, or just in case there's a mistake, just let me know.
I think I'm going to answer them at the end because
Okay.
we can do it as many times as we want. Just the questions get mixed. So.
Okay. So this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. If those weren't covered in class, there's a reference triangle that's made with 30, 60, 90s. So the 30, the 60, and the 90 refer to the angles. And then there's the short side, and that's usually referred to as x. The hypotenuse is 2x, so it's whatever that short side is doubled. And then the long leg, and sometimes it's the short leg, is x square root 3. So what you do when you have a problem like this, and they actually didn't give you a very easy one to start out, is you take the known side. So in this case, the known side is the hypotenuse, and you assign it to the reference side, which is the 2x in this case. And then you solve for x. So you're going to divide both sides by 2. 2 square root 3 equals x. But that's not the answer. They want you to find this over here, this a. To find a, you have to take the short side and multiply it by the square root of 3. So you have the short side here. This is the short side, or the short leg. To find the long leg, you take whatever the short leg is and multiply by the square root of 3. This becomes 2 square root of 9, which is 2 times 3, which equals 6. So that's this one here. That was a very difficult 30, 60, 90 triangle problem. There are less sophisticated ones that you would build up into that one. So if these are just mixed up, I can't sort of lead you down a nice path on these.
Yeah.
Okay, so find the value of x. Find the value of x. Okay, you got 20, which is a short leg. Okay, so this is one of those where you have 3 triangles. This is like a different type of question altogether. There's the small triangle, there's the medium triangle, and then there's the large triangle. And that's in this picture up here. Do you remember that from class? Or does that at least sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay. So you have to set up a proportion here. And to set up the proportion, I'm going to put the unknown value, the x, in the top left here. And what it is, it's a couple of things, and that's the challenging part here. It's the, let me scroll up here slightly. It's the long leg of the large triangle. Okay, I'm going to actually do this over here again. You kind of got a tough one to start out. It's also the hypotenuse of the medium triangle. Okay, and then so you got to see like what else do you have, or what what other information do you have here to be able to answer this. So do we have anything else with the large triangle? Well, we do have the hypotenuse of the large triangle. So in the large triangle, we do have the hypotenuse. It is the 25 plus 20. So now we have to figure out, what do we have in another triangle? Do we have the long leg in another triangle? And we do. Of the medium triangle, the long leg of the medium triangle is the 25. Okay. Now, do we have the hypotenuse of the medium triangle? We do. The hypotenuse of the medium triangle is this x, which is what we said over here. So when you, and this is what I do, this may be different what you saw in class. They might have some formulas, but I build this table and you just assign the values that match. Like x is the long leg of the large triangle. It also happens to be the hypotenuse of the medium triangle. So then you can set up this, proportion to solve. You end up cross multiplying here. So x squared equals 25 times 45. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to grab a calculator. For that, it's 1,125. And then take the square root of both sides to solve it. Let's see what our options are here. Looks like it's 15 square root 5. Let me double check that though. Yeah, that's right. 15 square root 5. I wouldn't, if this is not clear, I mean, I totally understand. There probably are some better problems somewhere too. Nope. Kind of just building into it. So the next one here is find the value of z. Does that look right to you? Okay. Okay, so it says find the value of z. Z is again two things. I'm gonna put z here. Z is it's the hypotenuse of the medium triangle, but it's also a leg, which I actually can't tell which one it is, of the looks like it's a leg of the large triangle, but I can't tell which one, so that's not great. Okay, so what else do we have from the medium triangle? We have on the medium triangle one of the legs, but I don't know which one. So I can call it 24. So do we have the hypotenuse and a leg? We do have the large triangle. So the large triangle, the hypotenuse is the 6 plus 24. And then I don't know if we can just go z there. I think we can. Let me just check here and see if this actually works. I can't believe you didn't get more sort of building into these questions. 38 times 24. Yeah, so this ends up working out really nicely. It's z squared equals whatever this multiplies. This is 30 times 24 times 30. And we take the square root of that. Let me get 30 times 24. It's, what is that, 720? That becomes z equals 12 square root 5. So, I mean, it just works. I guess I'll bet we have to do this and find the value of x in another one of these.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Like, I mean, I don't want to not do questions here for you, but like 6 is much more straightforward to do and kind of builds into
Okay.
some of these other ones. Do you want us to go through them in order, or do you want me to jump to ones that are sort of more clear?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I will continue doing because it's only one more. We'll do this. These 3 triangle problems are pretty difficult, and
Yeah.
you really have to be comfortable with the things that we're doing. So y is what you're trying to find, and the problem is that y is 2 things. It's the long leg. It's the long leg of the large triangle, but it is also, when you look at the picture, it's the hypotenuse of the medium triangle. So you have to decide, well, what else do we have from the large triangle? We do have the hypotenuse of the large triangle. That's 5 plus 15. So do we have the long leg and hypotenuse of another triangle? We do. Of the medium triangle, the long leg is 15 and the hypotenuse is y. Oh, I got those in the wrong order. So we can use that to solve for y. So you cross multiply here, you have y squared equals, this is 20 times 15, that's 300. So we have y equals the square root of 300. That does reduce to 10 square root 3. Even though the square root of 300 is correct, it wants the reduced form of it. That's why it says to simplify the answer. All right, so we'll start with a more do a more reasonable question here, number 6. Okay, so this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. It's oriented sort of in a unusual way. We wouldn't really draw it this way. The short leg is always across from the 30. So the 11 in this case is the short leg. So in the reference triangle, that's x. Across from the 30 is x. The hypotenuse is 2x, and the long leg is x squared 3. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the value of x here? It is 11, but that's not what they're asking you to find. What they want is the hypotenuse. You have to be clear on what you're trying to find. The hypotenuse is what we're trying to find. They call it x. This is the reference triangle, though. It's not the x in the problem here. So what they want is 2x. That's the hypotenuse. So we have to double this number 11, and that's why it's 22 there for you.
Okay.
All right, so this one, what is the value of x? So I got to make another proportion here. So x, I always put in the top left, x is the long leg of the medium triangle. And what else do we have in the medium triangle? We have the short leg. The short leg of the medium triangle is 8. X is also part of the hypotenuse. So x plus 4 is the hypotenuse of the large triangle. So let's try this one here. Do we have another triangle where we have the long leg and the short leg? And we do. This the small triangle here, the short leg is 4 and the long leg is 8. Okay. So we'll solve this here, cross multiply. We got 4x equals 64. Divide by 4, x equals 16.
Okay.
If you're going to look at these again, I would try to do all the 30, 60, 90 triangles together and then do all the small medium triangle problems together because they're really separate in how you do them. Okay, this is another 30, 60, 90 triangle problem, and they give you, see, so y is across from the 30. That's the short leg. The 3 squared 3 over 2, this is the long leg. And then the hypotenuse is over here. So our reference is that if this is 30, that's called x. The hypotenuse is double it. The long leg over here is x squared 3. So what you always do is you always set the known equal to the reference. So in this case, your known is 3 squared 3 over 2, and that equals x squared of 3. So the square roots of 3 just cancel out when you divide by them, and you get 3 halves equals x. But that's not the answer. That's the short leg. What they want in this problem is the hypotenuse, and that's what's kind of confusing here. The hypotenuse is double the short leg. So the hypotenuse is going to be 2 times 3 halves, which is 3. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, they give you kind of a pretty straightforward one here next after all these really complicated numerical ones.
Mhm.
All right, so what type of special triangle is this? So it's one where you have these two sides are the same. So that means it's isosceles, but it tells you that these two angles are the same. If these two angles are the same and this one's 90, that means these two have to add up to 90 also. That means they're both 45, and that's why it's considered a 45, 45, 90 triangle.
Okay.
All right, next one here, we're halfway through. Should be able to get through most of these.
Okay.
Okay, so the problem here is you're finding the value of x. X is part of this 45, and this one's 45 over here, 90. So you really need to know something about this leg over here to be able to do this. So I'm going to draw the top triangle first. It's 5, that's 60. Okay, the 60 is across from the long leg, so 30 is across from the short leg. So this is the short leg here. The short leg is always x in the reference triangle. So this is x, and then the hypotenuse is 2x, and we want that side here because the hypotenuse is this leg of the 45, 45, 90. So if you double 5, you get 10, and then it's way better to redraw the picture. This is your, and I haven't drawn this great. I've actually drawn that terrible. Let me redraw that here. So we got 10 here, and this is a 45, 45, 90. That means the other side is 10. This is a new reference triangle for you. So this one works for 45, 45, 90. If the bases are x, the hypotenuse is x squared too. So in this case, x is 10. Your hypotenuse is 10 square root 2. It's just the value multiplied by the square root of 2 there.
Okay.
Okay, so we're up to 11. 11 looks like a repeat, finally, of some problems that we've done, which means that it'll go faster because maybe some less explanation on this. So we've got 45, I'm sorry, we got a 5, 14, 12. So you have to take A, B, and C. These are in A less than B less than C in this order. So A is 5, B is 12, and C is 14. So what you have to do here to decide this is you have to take 5 squared plus 12 squared and determine how does that compare to 14 squared. So that's 25 plus 144. This is 196. This is going to be 169 greater than 196. And that means that this is, I believe this is obtuse. Let me go back and look. Got to go find our reference here. Way up all the way to the beginning. Okay, so if it's bigger, oh, I'm sorry, it was less than, so it's obtuse. I wrote the wrong symbol. So this is obtuse. Do you want me to draw the picture, or is that clear enough for explaining that?
That's clear enough.
Okay. All right, number 12. What is the value of f? What is the value of f? A. Okay, so I'm looking at this picture, and it's either not detailed or I can't see it very well. You might have to help here. What is this E over here? And then
Yes.
and then what's down here? I can't. There's no number.
I can look right now.
Okay. This is number 12, if that matters.
Okay. Find the value of x.
Can you find, is this letter a number down here on the bottom? Can you see that, or is?
I'm looking right now.
Okay. I mean, I can sort of guess and tell you which one is correct, but that's not how you want to do these when you have a real test or something coming up.
Yeah. Oh, it's cut off for mine too.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure the answer is 25 because E is probably about 20. It could be 20 though. I'm not really sure. It could be that this is 15 plus 5. Actually, I'd probably go with 20 if it was needed. If you wanted to guess on that, we can't do it without the rest of that information. So, oh, good. We got a straightforward one here for. Oh, I skipped ahead one. All right, we're up to 13. Okay, find the value of x in the triangle. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. The short leg is across from the 30. So the short leg here is 10, and that's your reference x. So the hypotenuse, which I know it doesn't ask for, it's double that. The long leg is the short leg times the square root of 3. So the long leg here is 10 square root 3 by definition.
Okay.
And that's just, again, another reference triangle. All right, so I'm just going to snip in the next one here. It's just pretty straightforward questions. Just says which of these, or are these, a Pythagorean triple? So there's a couple of Pythagorean triples that you need to know: 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, and then there's some debate about what the next one should be. This is usually it. Now these work really well, but you can also multiply these or divide these by a number. So like, let's say you multiply by 2, you get 6, 8, 10. That is also a triple. The next one you multiply by 2, 10, 24, 26. It is a triple. And to be clear, what a triple is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is a comma b comma c. These are all right triangles, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it works. All right, number 15. New. Okay, so it says determine the value of x. X is over here on this 30, 60, 90 triangle. To get that, we're gonna have to do something on this other triangle over this 45, 45, 90 triangle. So this is 45, this is 45, that's the right angle, that's 8. The other leg is also 8 because it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So it's x, x, x root 2. What that means is the two legs are the same, and then the hypotenuse is the leg times the square root of 2. So this is 8 square root 2 here. And this leg, I'm sorry, this hypotenuse becomes the leg of the triangle there. So this 8 square root 2 is right here. It's okay, and that's x, 60 degrees, so that's 30 degrees. So the short leg is always across from the 30 degrees. The long leg, which is x in this case, that's what we're trying to find. The long leg is the short leg times the square root of 3, just by definition. So it's 8 square root 2 times the square root of 3, which is 8 square root 6.
Okay.
All right. Next one here is pretty short. It's just asking whether it's acute, obtuse, or right. So one way to do this is to do the whole 9 squared plus 12 squared, 15 squared. Okay, but this is actually a Pythagorean triple. If you multiply each of these sides by 3, you get 9, 12, 15. And the Pythagorean triples are always right triangles.
Okay.
Okay, so up to 17. All right, snipping it in. Okay, determine the value of C. So C is over here. C is part of this triangle on the right. We have some information about the triangle on the left. It's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. What that means is that if A is here, this is also A. And 18 square root 2 is the hypotenuse. Now the reference triangle for a 45, 45, 90, I keep drawing this because it really helps. Whatever the short leg is the same as the other leg. Sorry, there's not a short and a long, they're just two legs. The hypotenuse is x square root 2. So in this case, you set the known side equal to the reference side, and you solve for x. And you'll see that the only difference is the number in front, so x must be 18. So in this case, A is 18. That's right there. That's A. It's 18. Now let me draw that triangle up here. So this is 18. This is 60. And this is B. And this is C. So the 60 is the across from the long leg. And in the reference triangle, this is what you have to have remembered, is the long leg is x squared 3. So 18 is equal to x squared 3. And you've got to solve for x. You got to divide both sides by square root of 3. This is the one problem first problem we've encountered where you have to actually rationalize the denominator. To do that, you multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. So you end up getting 18 square root of 3 times the square root of 9, which is 3. So that's 18 square root of 3 over 9, which is 2 square root of 3. But that's not the answer. That is the short leg, because you can't actually go directly to that. You have to go short leg to the hypotenuse. So to do that, you have, we said 2 square root 3. Yeah. So 2 square root 3 is B. So C is double that. So it's 4 square root of 3, which isn't there. Oh, I'm sorry. This is 3. So this is, I made a mistake here. 18 divided by 3 is 6. When you double 6 square root of 3, you get 12 square root of 3 for that. All right, pretty straightforward one here, number 18. So this is another 45, 45, 90 triangle. You know that because the two sides are the same. If the two sides are the same, the angles must be the same. So the triangle here is a 45, 45, 90. This is x, this is x, this is x root 2. So the hypotenuse, which is what it's asking for here, the hypotenuse is the one of these sides, 4 square root 2 times square root 2, this square root 2 down here. That's 4 times the square root of 4, 4 times 2, which is 8.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry this is so rushed. It's really not the best way to learn this. But this is what we have here. So we'll.
It's so much better than my teacher, though. That's.
Well, I'm always glad to help. I wish we had a format to do this a little bit slower.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to find y. This is like the problems we started out with. These are the most difficult because you have to write a couple of proportions to figure this out. So y, for example, is the, it's something to do with, I guess I'll call this, I can't really tell whether it's the medium or small. I'll call it the medium triangle. It's the, I'll just call it the short leg of the medium triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have the long leg of the medium triangle. That's 24. So do we have the short leg and the long leg of another triangle? We do of the small here. So the small triangle over here, the short leg is 6 and the long leg is y. It's almost always the case that these are diagonal from each other. If that might help you to do this on a test. So this is y squared equals 144, y equals 12, which thankfully is an answer so that we don't have to go much further. Wait, oh, that is the value. That's what they want, is the value of y. Awesome. Okay, last one here for this set. So let's knock it out here. New. All right, we're almost done. We'll get this last one knocked out. Okay, snipping it in. We're finding the value of A, B, and C. So 9, 12 here, this is just me kind of rushing through this a little bit. Those are 9 and 12 are the two short legs. And we saw this in a previous problem here. It's actually Pythagorean triple. Let me scroll up so you can see that. 9, 12, and 15. Those are Pythagorean triple.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me just looking at this triangle over here on the left. So 9, 12, 15. So A is 15. Okay, so that's a good start. That gets rid of that one. That gets rid of that one. So now we got to do the last one here. Ooh, B. So, I mean, without showing a lot of work, if B is 16, you have a 12, 16, 20 for this other triangle. I'm just using the answers. It's kind of not the way they want you to do it. But this is a 3, 4, 5 multiplied by 4 to get these numbers. So that's why this one works out. I don't know if it's possible to use the ratios, the proportions for this.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right. That is it. So we made it. I'll send you the notes here shortly and the screen recording by email.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Talk to you next time. Have a good night. Bye now.
You too. Bye.